to, observe and process their own reactions to the film, because that can take you to some very interesting places. Yes, over there. Sorry, we running out of time. We're out of time. We are the last film, right?
Okay.
Hi, good evening. I'm Anabs. I'm from the University of the Philippines. First of all, I just want to say that your movie is maganda. And I just want to preface the question that as an ally from the academe, one of the struggles of the LGBTQIA plus community here, especially the transgender community, is that there is no real word or term for transgender here in the Philippines. So just connecting that to Lingua Franca, if it was up to you, do you have any preference on or suggestion on what you want, like the transgender community equivalent to be called here in the Philippines?
Yeah, I haven't really thought of that question, and I'm loath to come up with something on the spot. It is a very, very, crucial an important question, and I think more than the name or the nomenclature itself, I think it is very important that transgender people have, dignity and agency in our society. And that was, if I were to interpret, the ending of the film, that was essentially what Olivia tried to gain back, on a macro level, within the socio-political context of being an undocumented person. It was a loss for her because someone was offering her a way out and she said no. That's stupid, but on a micro level, when it comes to questions about whether she respected herself enough, I could not imagine any other ending to the film, because by the act of gesture of getting back her passport, she was able to gain back, whatever shred of dignity she has left, and her agency and her accountability. Like, even though her future wasn't certain, she was ultimately responsible for what's going to happen to her, and she can make her own decisions, even though she was undocumented in that country. And yeah, so while I don't have, the name or the nomenclature for the term for the transgender individual here in the Philippines, I think I know what, transgender individuals, have a right to and deserve. And I'm never, I'm not the most explicit political person, but by necessity, because of making this film, in the country that it was made, it's out of necessity a political act, and an act of resistance and defiance. I'd like to think to a certain extent here too, because of the big kerfuffle about the issue that happened, the incident that happened 2 months ago to a trans woman. I think just close by to, this is relatively close to where that thing happened.
I think there's a question. Oh, I have a question.
Hi, wonderful, beautiful movie, by the way, very thought-provoking and deep and very emotional. I really like what you were able to accomplish with this, so congratulations on that. My question was, how did you get about to decide to work with the Russian community in New York? Something I'm personally very familiar with, having grown up in New York City as a Ukrainian, so I'm very familiar with that whole area.
Actually, this is me being, like a fan of a director, because, I live in Brooklyn, in New York City, and while I live, like in Northern Brooklyn, like Crown Heights, Prospect Heights, one of my favorite directors grew up in Brighton Beach, and he also happens to be Russian Jewish, and it's James Gray. And he set a few of his films in Brighton Beach, like Two Lovers, Little Odessa, and while I didn't vibe so much with Ad Astra, it I also wanted to set it in Brighton Beach and focus on the Russian Jewish community because I wanted to make a New York movie that's not your stereotypical New York movie with skyscrapers, you know, the Brooklyn Bridge, or the Sex and the City women, or you know, girls on HBO. I wanted to show a side of New York City that's, you know, populated with immigrants, but and in a way, like Coney Island, Brighton Beach, when you go there, it doesn't feel like the modern day. You know, it feels like it's stuck in the 50s and the 60s. So indirectly, I also feel like I'm making a period film with Lingua Franca, and I feel like that's a right setting for me to infuse, you know, the romanticism, the lyricism, and kind of that I attempted to do in this film.
Yeah, that's a very good answer, and I think that you really brought out the authenticity of that neighborhood and how it really is. So,
Thank you.
great job with that too.
Thank you.
Okay, we have more questions left.
Okay, I guess that's a wrap for tonight, and congratulations, Mrs. Isabel Sandoval. And let's give a warm round of applause to the one and only Mrs. Isabel Sandoval. Good night, guys!